Alrighty, guys, one of the many, many questions that is plaguing Star Wars right now, perhaps not the most important one, but I still think a question nonetheless. Is there ever going to be a Mandalorian Season 4? We are getting a live-action theatrical movie in Star Wars. What a crazy concept. It will have been 7 years, almost, 6.5 years, between Star Wars movie releases, which, again, between prequel and sequel trilogies was... that's nothing. Between Revenge of the Sith and Force Awakens, there was 10 years between that. So you might be saying, 6.5 years, not a big deal. But, there were so many plans for different Star Wars movies, and it fizzled out. And so Mandalorian and Grogu coming out next May 2026, it just feels like, I don't know, is it too little too late? We'll have to see about all that next May. But there have always been rumors and questions about, does that mean a Mandalorian Season 4 is canceled? Is it still going to happen after the movie? Or is the movie basically Mandalorian Season 4? I think those are fair questions to be asking of what this movie really is and how it fits into the grand scheme of the Mandalorian story. So then recently, Jon Favreau, the director of the movie and one of the executive producers of the entire story of The Mandalorian, actually gave some comments. And on the one hand, I think clear up a couple things. On the other hand, I still think leave some open-ended questions. So let's dive into this. He says... in these quotes, he says, quote, "We were planning on doing a 4th season. I had actually written all of that. I still have Season 4 sitting on my desk here." But then he talks about the movie, right? So he's transitioning from talking about Season 4 to the movie, and he says, quote, "It's structured around a movie structure as opposed to a serialized weekly television show. So there's a larger throw to the whole thing." So a couple of things to look at here. First of all, he says he had actually written all of A Mandalorian Season 4, and it's still there, right? It's still there. It seems like, from his comments, that there will still be... so this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, there is still a difference between the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and what Season 4 was. So it looks like the Mandalorian Season 4, again, probably they took some elements from it and brought it to the Mandalorian and Grogu, but it also... it feels like it's its own thing, right? The Mandalorian and Grogu is its own thing. And Mandalorian Season 4 is just sitting there. Based on his comments, right? And we don't have actual concrete, as far as I know, I was looking through a lot of different articles, and none of them seem to have any other comments or context around this, but if you have any, please let me know and drop them in the comments. But from what I have been able to read, from what I've been able to see, it feels like, from Jon Favreau's comments, that Mandalorian Season 4 is still sitting there, aka it's not going to happen, which I think honestly makes some sense. I think it would be pretty hard, not physically or not even logistically or not even canonically to do this, but I think just in the minds of fans to take Mandalorian from TV and bring it to the movies and then bring it back to TV. I think that would be kind of difficult. I think if Mandalorian and Grogu just doesn't succeed, I have to imagine that's it for The Mandalorian, which is honestly a bummer. I'm not somebody, I've always said this, I'm not somebody who loves Mandalorian. I like it. I really didn't like Season 3 at all. It was just not my cup of tea. I like Season 2. I like Season 1. I think there were a lot of good episodes. I also think there were a lot of episodes I just didn't really enjoy in both seasons, but that's fine. I enjoy Mandalorian, right, for what it is. But I would be disappointed, regardless of that, even if it's not my favorite show of all time, to see it just fade and fizzle out. It was such a big moment in pop culture and in Star Wars when The Mandalorian came onto the scene. It was exciting, again, because people really seemed on board with it, and then it just kind of faded. And so if Mandalorian and Grogu, critically or box office or both, doesn't do well, I think that's it. Now, if it does do well, I still think that doesn't mean it's going to get another season, because then I think you're just going to make a sequel, another movie, which I think would be the right move, by the way. So, to me, while Jon Favreau might have a Mandalorian Season 4 written and ready to go, I don't think at this point there is a feasible scenario. Again, it's possible that they just, if Mandalorian and Grogu even bombs or is fine, then they'll just say, we'll just go back to television. That's fine. Even then, I feel like the most likely scenarios indicate that there will not be another season of television for The Mandalorian, which again, I don't know. I hope the movie does really well, right? I'm conflicted because I hope the movie is great and it just kills it at the box office, but I also think that it would have been really nice for The Mandalorian just to have gone on for 7 seasons or something like that and have just had a really successful run. At this point, the legacy of The Mandalorian, I don't know what it's going to be, But it's gone from something that really rejuvenated fans' excitement in Star Wars to something that is now a little more complicated than I think it needed to be. So we will see about all of that. But guys, I think that this is something that we should be monitoring moving forward. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Do you think there is going to be a season 4, or would you just like to see another movie after this? Let me know in the comments down below.